Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the not so brand new and very much kicking into regular life now European Cricket Studio. I'm Michael McCann and today it's the interactive 1 hour chat where we've got 3 different guests from across the European cricketing world, starting with the man who we had with us on Monday, a former first-class cricketer and now captain of Swordston, the English champions who were set to be involved in ECL 20, and of course it was unfortunately postponed. Joe Gatting, how are you this afternoon, Joe?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well, thanks.
Great to have you on once again. And remember that this show is all about you, the viewers. So get your questions in, get your comments in for Joe. Pretty much anything you want to ask about, I'm sure he'll be very happy to answer. You can use the question bar that is at the bottom of your screen, or you can fire away in the comments and I'll try my best to keep up with you all. But just picking up on a theme that we didn't get around to on Monday to start off with, you were telling me, Joe, about your new position as a coach at Tea Tree Gully in Australia, a club that's got very close associations with Travis Head. Is that very much the direction you want to move into in the future, coaching as the next stage, if it will, after playing?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, currently I still love playing, but I'm fortunate enough now I can play and coach. And look, sport is a passion of mine. I've been very fortunate to play both professional football and cricket, and I think my passion now is to still play cricket, but also try to give people who I work with, coach with, the best opportunity for them to find their way to play cricket and hopefully have opportunities that I have had in my career, really.
Now, we have got an early question that's come in from Adam Long in Cambridge, not a million miles off Norfolk, of course, which is where Swordston are based. He says, just what was it like to play in the Champions League T20 with Sussex?
It was a fantastic opportunity, and I think looking back on it, it brings fond memories. I think obviously from the Champions League, from my football career, it was only a year, I think. So to be playing football I think September time it was, and then playing the Champions League the next September was obviously a very quick change. But I think obviously time's gone now, and you can reflect on that experience, and I think it's the closest thing you can come to from not playing professional, not international cricket. So I remember that my first memory was obviously you get to the airport, and then obviously India, the country, cricket is their religion. They love it. It's what they live for, and the amount of hype around the tournament was a massive. Every TV channel you saw, it was advertised in the T20 Champions League, and obviously around that time there's a little bit of terrorism going on. So the security we had around us was something you'd never imagine to see. So we had 24-hour security guards around us. Our hotel floor was guarded by armed police force. Our bus kept getting bomb checked. We had a security guard who was with us 24/7. I think he was a South African guy, and he was massive. He had muscles growing out of muscles. He always carried this little rucksack around with him, and we kept asking, "What's in your rucksack?" But he would never ever let us know. And one day we tried to play a little practical joke and hide it, but yeah, not again. It didn't last too long.
Really?
But in terms of cricket, in our group we played New South Wales, who were a very strong side at the time, and they actually won the tournament, beating Trinidad and Tobago in the final. But they had basically half the Australian side. They had up Brett Lee, David Warner, obviously the late Phil Hughes, Doug Bollinger, Stephen Smith, who at the time was a leg spinner,
yeah,
and obviously a few others. Yeah, Katic, Enriquez, and then obviously we played the Eagles from South Africa. And from memory, I think in the first game against New South Wales, we got well and truly beaten. And then I think the last game we had to beat the Eagles to go through to the next round, but unfortunately we lost in a super over. So looking back on it, it was an amazing experience. The crowds were fantastic, packed out grounds, the culture opened your eyes. But yeah, it was a great opportunity, and it's a shame that it no longer happens really. But I can understand why, because of the schedule and all these players now go around the world playing different franchises, and it's probably not as possible as it was during my time, really.
Well, I know they also had a situation where you ended up with one player potentially representing 2 or 3 different teams in that Champions League. But it certainly was a tournament that a lot of people remember quite fondly. And of course, we've now got the Champions League of European cricket. Your question or point about good players and county and international standards leads me to this. So Mark Lovell asks, best county player you played with never to play international cricket?
It's a very good question. It's a tough one, because I would say Ed Joyce at Sussex, but he did play international cricket for England and Ireland, so that doesn't quite
doesn't qualify, of course.
There's a guy at Sussex called McGoffin, a seamer. He was actually Australian, and I think if he was born in a different era to obviously all those Australian great bowlers, he would have played a lot of cricket, and especially in England, the guy just he didn't miss a line length. He had a whole angle, it could nip in, nip away. He had a quick bouncer, so he was one of the guys who you think if he was possibly around when they didn't have the leads, the 100 bowls they did have, he would have done a pretty handy job.
Yeah.
So he comes to mind. Yeah, and to be funny, I played for my club side in Sussex, Preston Nomads. We had an overseas player called Cole Simon. He was actually from Antigua, and he spoke to a lot of the county boys at Sussex who played league cricket against him, and then they said he could easily have played a lot higher. I think his true love was basketball, as a lot of West Indians are, and he only got into cricket quite late, but he was a genius. And like I say, if he was an English player, he would have had a long time in county cricket, and he had the skill set and actually the pace to actually play higher. But that was a little bit of a red herring one, actually.
Yeah, Daniel Weston, ECL founder, has just piped up saying Steve was 12th man for a test in South Africa. So near yet so far. And Vin Sandy says his forefathers shouldn't have stolen a loaf of bread because he would have easily played for England. I'll let that speak for itself. But moving on, Steve Gray says, who's your favourite Swordston player? Something of a loaded question, I feel.
I think Steve Gray actually messaged me this morning and said, if I don't say it's him, and because I'm actually, when I do go up to Norfolk to play cricket, I'm actually going to stay with Steve and his wife and young daughter. So yeah, a very loaded question. And yeah, I think when I first joined Swordston, Steve Gray really made me feel welcome. All the boys did, but we actually lived quite close to each other, and I was actually doing an open university course when I first joined, and him being a PE teacher was quite a handy relationship. But yeah, it was a loaded question. But yeah, Steve Gray is up there with one of my favourite Swordston players.
And I assume next time the fines committee meet, there might be a serious fine for him actively chasing such a public compliment.
Definitely, but I think all the boys who know Steve Gray, he's quite happy to chase those. So I'm not sure he'll take it with a pinch of salt.
Harry Thomas, favourite memory playing cricket?
Oh, I think it's quite hard to go away from playing in the Champions League. I think just being in that environment, playing against those guys was awesome, and it was great to be part of. Obviously, I'm fortunate enough to win a T20 competition for Sussex and a few other trophies. I think the Pro 40 won at Sussex and won the Championship Division 2 twice. So they're obviously all quite good memories. I think my first class 100 against a good Worcester attack with Alan Richardson. Sorry, Alan Richardson was a very good bowler, and Kemah Roach. So that was quite a nice experience to get 100 in against a first class county. And yeah, I think obviously the last couple of years at Swordston, winning a 40 over competition at Lords. Obviously, captain the side, so a little bit extra special. And obviously, there's a couple of T20 competitions because that's what we play cricket for, is to have these memories you can look back with guys you really like. And I think all those occasions have ticked those boxes. So yeah, I've been very fortunate to have quite a few good memories, and hopefully a few more to come.
Stuart Bartram asks, best club cricketer who has not played first-class cricket?
I think there's quite a few at Swansden, and it'll be probably quite hard to pick up one, but there's obviously a few there. Stephen Gray was a very, very good wicketkeeper batter, so I think he's played a little bit of first-class cricket at Cambridge University.
Yeah.
What about playing
for a county?
For a county, there's loads there. We got a bowler at Swansden, Tom Oxley, who is 6'10", is massive, and he bowls quick. And he could probably do it at first class level if he had the opportunity and a little bit of luck behind it. But yeah, like there's too many guys without thinking too deep into it could have probably had a good crack at it, because look, you do need a little bit of luck to get picked and to have the opportunity. But yeah, there's two people who I could think of top of my head.
Do you think counties are missing out by not scouting club cricket more?
It's a tough one, because that's crossed my mind a few times actually, mainly because when I played a bit of football in the off season in the last few years when I was in the UK, you do see professional clubs looking at level, because there are some talented players, and sometimes you do miss them in the system, and people develop at different times. But yeah, I do agree. I think there are some guys in club cricket we've come against and I play with who are very good cricketers, and for whatever reason they've not been picked up, or they've had an opportunity when they're a bit younger, and maybe that was their only go. Where look, cricket, you can play until you're quite old now, can't you? And people develop it at later stages. And yeah, I do think people are missing maybe a trick there, but it's tough. And possibly if they had something like an FA Cup kind of style tournament in cricket, in English cricket, it could be quite interesting. And I'm pretty sure there'd be a couple of guys who would maybe get seen and picked up and do quite well in the professional game.
Well, I know that once upon a time, and it is around a generation ago, that there used to be 50 over or 40 over tournament whereby the minor counties got that chance to compete and cause upsets. Do you think that would be a worthy addition to get back into the English game?
I really think that'd be a great idea. I'm not sure if this is true, but I don't know why I'm thinking it, but I think there's been talk of it in minor county cricket, possibly coming in. So yeah, I think that's a great opportunity. And look, everyone loves the FA Cup because of the upsets, of the new heroes, of these sides coming from the low leagues. And I really feel like it could be a very good opportunity for that to happen.
Well, that was Tom Grunshaw's question, saying should minor or domestic counties have more inclusion in ECB tournaments going forward? And of course, that kind of thing is very much open for debate and opinion, and that's exactly what the European Cricket Studio is, to explore different ways things could be done. Now, we've got Joe for probably another 5 minutes or so before we bring in our next guest. So this is your last call to fire in any questions about anything in particular, using either the comments bar or the little question bar at the bottom of your screen. There is one cricketing memory I do have to ask you about, Joe, albeit feeling harsh to do so, because you had what I think most people would call the nightmare that you have in your dreams of getting to 99 not out and the game being rained off, this being Sussex against Yorkshire. Now, you did win the game on Duckworth-Lewis method, but just talk us through what was that like to experience the batsman's nightmare coming true.
Yeah, got looking back on that game, obviously Scarborough is a great place to play cricket. The locals know their cricket. and always get a good crowd in. And I think my first memory of that game was actually we bowled first, and I was put deep square leg very early on against the like a terrace little standing area where all the locals sit and drink plenty of beer. And I remember going out there on the first over, and I got abused for 50 overs, I think, 40 overs. And it was all friendly, but I'd never seen so much beer drunk so early in the morning. But that was my first memory. And yeah, obviously 99 not out and the rain came, and I'm pretty sure the umpire gave me at least 2 more overs where, in truth, we should have probably come off, but I just couldn't quite get the single needed for 100. But yeah, obviously it was good to win a game. I think at that time, as a young professional, if you weren't capped as a bonus for your first 100.
Oh.
So it was quite a big bonus, and obviously that was on my mind, and it was a little bit frustrating. But look, we won the game. I think I got 100 not so long after, and I think I went to a casino that night actually in Scarborough and tried to make up for it, which, as you can imagine, didn't quite go to plan. But yeah, it's a great game. End of the day, if you get 99, you probably take it every single day of the week. So yeah, it was a great we won, and it was just great that I put in a performance that allowed the team to get a good result.
What happened in the casino then?
I think there's never been a casino which loses that money, and I think Scarborough's the same as that. So yeah, Sally didn't go to plan.
Scarborough Casino was grateful for your custom.
It was, yeah. It appreciated me coming in.
Of surmising it. And we're just on to pretty much our final question. So if anyone's got anything else for Joe, this is very much your last call to fire it in. But how does the future look for both you now and for Swardston? Of course, we heard on Monday the plans for ECL 21 and how that might go. What's next for Joe Gatting?
I think obviously he's concentrating on our cricket at Swardston. I think it's a very exciting time for the club. I think we've made a couple of recruitments in the off season to strengthen the team and hopefully have another great year. And obviously it's been great to hear the plans for ECL 21. And look, we got a great opportunity to go back because obviously we got a chance to hopefully play in a competition again nationally, which gives us one chance. Obviously, if that doesn't go to plan, we've got another chance. So look, it's in our hands to go back, and I know speaking to the boys, we just can't wait to get playing again. So hopefully it happens sooner rather than later. But yeah, I think the plan going forward is just to concentrate on when we do get a chance to play, we fully make the most of it. We probably all appreciate playing again a lot more than we have in the past. And yeah, just can't wait to get back out there, have fun with your mates and enjoy the game of cricket, which is what we all love.
Absolutely. And have you got any final message to the European cricket community? Yeah,
just watch out for next, is it next July?
Next,
I can't remember.
Late May, June, May the 13th.
I was close. Yes, hopefully between now and then, hopefully the world gets back to normality. Hopefully everyone keeps their spirits up and look at the end of the tunnel. We've got ECL 21 to look forward to and hopefully create some new memories for the future.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time both today and on Monday, Joe. It's been fantastic hearing your
Pleasure.
Stories from across quite a wide-ranging sporting journey. And of course, stay in touch, stay safe, and we'll hopefully see you on a cricket pitch soon.
Thank you. Catch you soon.
Thanks. Oh, sorry, go on. Cheers, Joe.
See ya.
So that was Joe Gatting. We hope you enjoyed hearing what he had to say both today and on Monday. Remember that we are here Monday to Thursday at 5 p.m. Central European Time each and every day. But the fun continues right across the week. From Friday to Sunday, it's the European Cricket Quiz that you can join in. It will be fantastic to have you play. It would be really, really nice to get as many of you involved in that as possible. There's some really good prizes to be won as well. The main prize, which has been our prize last week and this week, a lovely bit of cricket spikes, pair of cricket spikes, I should say, to be specific. You'll be wanting 2 shoes rather than one. And that can be won by playing the quiz. There's only 6 questions. It's not too difficult, I promise you. And if you win that 6 out of 6, you're right in there with a chance. Our next guest is ready and waiting like a coiled spring. It is a man who's got a baby face like me, but actually is already in very much a position of authority. Chris Kleis, 25 years old, already the president of his cricket club. And to use an old beer advert that used to be used a lot, possibly the youngest cricket club president in the world. Chris, just how did that happen?
Hi, Michael. Thank you for having me on. Well, yeah, to be fair, I'm 26 now.
Oh, no, sorry.
It's all good. Well, it's sort of a family tradition that sort of went on for a few generations. And then my dad was the latest. My dad and my uncle was on at the same time. And they both stepped back a few years ago. And we've been having a president in the meantime. And when he sort of said, I don't have the time anymore, I thought I was not ready to put it in somebody outside my family's hands and somebody I didn't necessarily trusted 100%. I thought I trusted in myself more than that. So I thought, all right, this is my time and I'll step in. And I also know that my dad was very proud of that. So yeah, it definitely means a lot.
So Chris is president of the Skanderborg Stingrays, who were set to be at ECL 20 before it was postponed because they beat Svanholm in the Danish T20 final last year. Now, many of you will remember Svanholm from being semi-finalists at ECL 19, and they were the team that definitely got closer than anyone else to beating the eventual champions VOC Rotterdam, losing by just 7 runs in their pool match. How much of ECL 19 did you watch and what did you think of it?
I watched mostly the Svanholm games, of course. Mads and Jonas are good friends as well, so definitely had to see them play. And I watched the Rotterdam team quite a lot because their opening bear was pretty exciting to watch. So I thought that was a good time of cricket. So yeah, that was the most. And then, of course, the final. Definitely watched that as well.
Well, you couldn't have missed that final, 222 without
loss. That's just ridiculous.
No words. Who are the guys in your team who could be racking up that kind of score? Give us some names to keep an eye on. I know that one that sticks out is Michael Peterson, but there's others.
Oh, yeah. I mean, our opening pair from last season was extremely well playing. It was Michael Peterson and Muncey Singh, who's both been national players for a very long time. Michael is not known for being like a hard hitter, but actually he was quite the hard hitter last year. Muncey Singh plays very aggressive, and right after him we have Sanjeev Taj and Anders Bülow, sort of the young guns on the team, and also with very aggressive play styles, and obviously Rizwan Mahmood, who's been a national player for a very long time as well and been in the club since he was 14, 15, I think. So definitely an explosive top 5 or 6, I would say.
So we mentioned Svanholm. You're rivals with them, I'm right in thinking I'm saying. A friendly rivalry, but a rivalry nonetheless?
Definitely. It goes back plenty of years, and it's been going on since my dad played, and it's been fun to follow since none of us are actually like the team to beat at the moment, which is kind of weird. We've always been like the last 5-6 years it's been Skanderborg Svanholm, and now another club called KB is sort of the team to beat, but they were not even in the run of becoming the champions last year of the T20. So depending on how the situation turns out doing all this Corona stuff, I think KB is going to really play for a position in the T20 tournament as well, definitely.
So it sounds like of all the countries to keep an eye on, you would suggest that in terms of unpredictability, Danish cricket might be one of the best in Europe.
I mean, to be completely honest, going into the ECL 20 for this year, when we won, we thought we actually had pretty good chances. Even though like Rotterdam's definitely a favorite, we thought we had pretty good chances. And then the tournament sort of got bigger, and both Swatterston, Joe Gatting, and Ireland, and Scotland, and so there was a lot of teams coming in that we thought maybe, but it's all good. I mean, it's for heightening the standard, which is good. Very, very cool for ECO. So the chances might have got a slighter, like smaller, but still we thought, yeah, we had a pretty good chance. It's still T10 cricket, so anything can happen, really.
You touched on your history. So you're the third generation who's involved in running the club at Skanderborg. It's actually a club people might not know. It was founded way back in 1898 by English rail workers. But actually, it's been your family who's been central to running it since about the 1980s, you reckoned?
Yes, around that time, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of weird growing up in Denmark when it's all about handball, football, badminton, and that stuff. And then playing cricket was definitely, it was weird in like the schoolyard. Like saying, I don't really want to play football, but I would definitely, if you have a bat and a ball, I would definitely play cricket with you. And they were like, what is that? And I actually remember it, for me, cricket was so normal, but when talking to friends and, just in general, friends and people at school, it was weird how it was not a common sport. So it was the thing that we were pretty along with, I think. I also think that's why some of my absolutely best friends are from cricket, because we have that to share.
Now, Mark Lovell has fired in the comments and the questions, which you can all do. He says, Amjad Khan keen with KB. Would you mind just elaborating? Because many people will remember him playing one test match for England in the West Indies once upon a time.
Oh, yeah.
He's now very much, as he always was, heavily involved with Danish cricket as well.
Yeah, that is true. He was actually, he played for Svanholm a few years ago, and now he's in KB. And he is definitely like one of the guys you really fear when you step onto the field. Very explosive with the bat, and just the best pace bowler we ever had in Denmark, probably. So I mean, he's definitely one that everybody looks after when the game starts. Yeah.
Because he can bowl 90. Well, he can bowl. We'll have him on next week to ask him just how fast he can still bowl, but he certainly could regularly bowl up and above 90-mile-an-hour bullets at you.
I mean, in Denmark we play on turf most. What's it called? Artificial turf.
Yeah.
Most of the time. So I mean, he's definitely a bit challenged, but I've heard stories about him and read articles when he was at his peak of his career. I mean, he was apparently rapid. Yeah,
there's stories in the England setup of various, Andy Flagg, Kevin Peterson, etc., speaking very, very highly of him at that time. In a wider sense, what do you like most about the Danish cricket setup?
I think we are very fortunate in Denmark that Denmark is not a very small, very big country. So, for example, when we have to go to the match that is furthest away from us, it's at Svanholm's, and that's only 300 kilometers. I think it is. So like a 3-hour drive or something. And so that means that the cricket society in general is very small, and we can everybody is good friends, and there's a good atmosphere around the cricket in general. And I really love that. I think it's so nice to have like a second community that you can go to and discuss a thing that's very niche in Denmark. So it's just really cool to be able to share the cricket with around, I don't know, maybe there's 2 to 3 thousand players or something, and that's not a lot considering it's a whole country, right? I really, really love that about cricket in general here in Denmark.
You say it's very niche, so how do you grow it?
Yeah, that's definitely the biggest challenge in Danish cricket, and the question everybody is asking. We haven't really found like the right formula yet. Personally, I think it's sort of a two-way street. I think we have to make cricket cool, which is in a sense is really, really hard because we're comparing ourselves to handball, football, all these sports that we're really good at. Um, and then I think we need to make it more available. We need to stream the cricket, or just in general make it more available to people. And that's also something the ECL is actually helping a lot with. More in Europe, I think, not necessarily specific in Denmark, but there's good chances that we can make some press and stuff for the cricket because of ECL. So that's pretty cool.
Can the ECL and that massive 10 kilogram trophy that presumably costs hundreds to get it shipped back to the winners every time at a cost we're very happy to cover, of course, can that really incentivize that interest and press coverage? Was there much press coverage ahead of ECL 20 before it got postponed?
Well, actually, right before it got postponed, we had an article in just a local newspaper in Skanderborg, and we have a really big handball team in Skanderborg and a pretty big football club in Skanderborg. In general, the city is pretty good at sports in general. So we had an article like with the headline sort of saying something like the Skanderborg cricket team is going to the biggest tournament that any sports team in Skanderborg have ever attended.
Wow.
And I love that because I've played handball basically my whole life as well, but it was amazing to sort of show off, in a sense, that cricket can actually bring you all of this. And that's sort of also what I meant about making cricket cool. I think we need to be better at using our national players to sort of show off where you actually play cricket. It's amazing how my very good friend Anders Bülow, who plays at the team, he's played national cricket since he was 13, I think. And he's been traveling the world with cricket and experienced so many places you would never experience. These things we need to be way better at using and actually pushing like the limits of what we can say about ourselves, what is cool about cricket. And there's a lot of passionate people in Denmark about cricket. We just need to utilize them and use them in a sense, yeah.
KG Brushstroke says, play T10 cricket as a competition in Denmark. Get kids, mums and dads excited about 90-minute cricket. Thoughts?
I think there's actually been talk about this for the youth scene in Denmark, which is not very big, but having this integrated somehow. I think for the adult scene as it is now, I don't think the players are ready to play T10 on a regular basis. I think there's too much love for the 50 over game, and the T20 game was actually a big transition for us in Denmark. So putting in a T10 tournament as well is going to be hard. And I also think the time matters. Like, we don't have enough weekends during the season to actually play all the games because we have 2 tournaments for the elite division. So I don't know. I think for some of the other ranks, or maybe for the youth, yeah, I think T20 is a good, especially when you think about the time and parents. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, I know Daniel Weston's fired up in the comments saying the Dream 11 European Cricket Series as a one-off competition could certainly come to Denmark, and that could be one way of having a competition without it going on across a long period of time. Meek Hyder says, is there a lot of cricket being played unprofessionally in Denmark? I don't think that's meant in unprofessional as in the sense of not behaving properly, in terms of unofficial as such.
I mean, all cricket in Denmark is amateur, right? So there's not a lot of players getting money, of my knowledge. There's a few of the best clubs who every year gets an overseas player. We do it as well. I know Svanholm does as well. KB has a guy from Zimbabwe called Keith. It's been there for quite a few years now. And I think there might be one or two players who might be paid. I don't know. So if that's what we're talking about in professional way, no, there's not a lot of professional cricket, and typically it's overseas players.
I know that you've had Australian fast bowler Ben Edmondson and Richard Sherwood from New Zealand once upon a time on that particular note. On a slightly more flippant note, James Jabez says, do you make the older members call you Mr. President?
No, I don't. I think I have the older guys at the club. I have mad respect for them. I've looked up to them since I was quite little, so it's strange being 26 and being a president for someone who's like plus 40 or mid 30s, but I think they also respect the fact that I put the club before a lot of stuff, and I also I think the friendly relationship is more important than like the professional thing. So I pride myself with being good at departing the two things, and then not being a president when I watch cricket, for example, unless I have to.
Are you looking to actively lead the charge on streaming of cricket in Denmark?
Oh man, I would love to. I've been pitching this to the Danish Cricket Association, I think 3 or 4 times. I would really love for the Danish cricket to be available on, for example, YouTube. There's a lot of kids watching YouTube in Denmark. It's huge here. We have Astralis, who plays Counter-Strike, and is a massive team. And there's so many young people watching on YouTube and Twitch or whatnot. And I would just love for it to be a part of the elite division in Denmark. And also, I think it's possible. I mean, there are enough technical guys around the clubs to set this up and actually control it. We have so many very passionate people who actually just helps out at the club and doesn't even play. These people, I think they would also love to have this opportunity to share it with people. Even like if it was possible to have a national broadcaster, just like showing, for example, the Final Four weekend that qualifies for ECL. I mean, I don't think it's impossible. I think it's quite possible. I think we just need to be pushing it more and really wanting it. Yeah.
So you're setting yourself up as the figurehead to make this happen. Is that a fair comment?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't think it's far off. I mean, I would love to see it happen, and I would love to involve myself in this project. I think it's important that the other clubs have one voice each, so it's easier to go to the Danish Cricket Association and actually have this talk. Because if it's just me alone, it's probably going to be a bit harder. And I think some of the younger people needs to step up and be. This is sort of our era with the whole streaming thing. So I think this is our thing to do for Danish cricket, I feel like.
Well, that is a rallying cry if ever I've heard one. And I hope that plenty of people across Denmark are listening, and I'm sure they are intently. Tom Grunshaw says, how do you rate the current Danish national team and their prospects in the T20 qualifiers?
The national team, right. Yeah, they were supposed to play a few tournaments, and I think one got canceled and one got postponed. They were supposed to go to, was it Singapore? I'm actually not quite sure. It was around Australia down there. Yeah. And
but what shape are they in? How would you rate them as a side?
I mean, if everybody on the national team is available, I think we have a great chance, to be honest. I think we've been so close so many times that some of the older guys at the national team, they're just tired of not making it. I think they have so much fire behind them right now that I feel like they can't lose. I think this is the time for them to sort of make it, and I think it's time for the younger people to sort of step up and be ready to take their place when the older guys are not fit anymore. I think it's a nice transition that we are onto right now.
So we've only got a few more minutes left
Right.
with Chris, but if anyone wants to get in any final questions using the question bar at the bottom or the comments, feel free to fire in a fascinating discussion about the inner workings of Danish cricket. But I also have to ask you from my sources, what exactly is the Skanderborg song? And have you got any stories associated to it?
Well, the Skanderborg song is a song we sing every time we win. We sort of, I would say we sing it more than we used to. And it's just for the good atmosphere in the locker room, right? But I actually don't know the origins. I just remember, I think my first memory of it was when I was around 10 years old or so. I was asked if I wanted to go to the locker room with the elite division team at the time, because my dad was involved and all that. And then I just remember hearing the song there for the first time, and it's a great song because it aroused both the team, the city, the Danish cricket in general. I think it's a nice song. It's not going for, it's not like stamping on other teams or anything. It's just for us. Like, so I think that's just good sports.
James Javis says, "Go, Chris, sing it for us now." I'm not going to put you on the spot,
No. Please don't.
But maybe if you can at some point get hold of a clean, shall we say, recording from a locker room afterwards of that being sung, or maybe hearing you sing it at the European Cricket League or at a Dream 11 European Cricket Series event sometime soon, I'm sure that would be a lot of fun. For now, that's about that for our time with Chris. But any closing thoughts for either Danish cricket or the European cricket community whilst you're here?
I mean, I've actually wanted to say thank you to the European Cricket League for so long, because I think what you guys have done for cricket in Europe is absolutely amazing. I've never thought that we were going to have this opportunities as a team in Denmark, and I never thought that cricket would go to this level in Europe. So I think that's just amazing. And to you, Daniel, to the rest of the team, that's big thumbs up, man. It's amazing. Done so much for the sport.
Well, I certainly can't be taking much of the credit. It's Dan Weston and a core of volunteers that are so huge in making everything happen. And I'm just privileged enough to be a small part of it. James Jabez says, "Did Swardston have one?" And Stuart Bartram says, "That would be a good stream club songs." I always think of some song, The County Side, who are particularly well known for it. For now, thank you ever so much for your time, your insight and your honesty, Chris. And we'll hopefully have you back on again soon.
Definitely. You just write me and I'll be there. Definitely.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Chris.
Cheers.
So that was Chris from Skanderborg Cricket, who's got quite the story. It's not every day you see someone who's 26 years old and is already president of a cricket club. That is quite something, and I'm sure I can't be the only person that was very interested in hearing more about that. My next guest is someone else from across the European cricket scene who also has plenty of tales and insight to contribute. It is James Cameron-Dow, the Irish international, flying into our stream as the third and final guest for today. Good afternoon, James. How are you coping with isolation life?
Afternoon, Michael. Firstly, I was expecting a comment about my baby face, but anyway, that's all right. Yeah, it's difficult. It's not easy, but it's not too bad. I mean, I've got a semi-decent setup with a couch under the TV and a little bit of a garage and all sorts going on to try and keep busy. And yeah, like I say, not easy, but it's not the end of the world, I suppose, if we just stick to it and get through it. We can do it. So yeah.
So for those who don't know, James plays for the Church of Ireland Young Men's Society, known as CIYMS rather than SIMS. It's each letter individually, if that's of interest to you when talking about them. And they were set to be involved in ECL 20 as the Irish champions until coronavirus intervened. And James was set to be one of the players, of course, involved in the competition. Now, it might oddly be a tiny bit of a blessing in disguise for you guys, because as far as I understand, quite a few of your key players, such as Mark Adair, Jacob Mulder, I think you were also in this bracket, and Alan Coulter, were not actually going to be involved because of Irish provincial games. So as and when you do get back to the European Cricket League, we might see you at full strength when you otherwise wouldn't have been.
Yeah, and our captain, Nigel Jones, would have also been part of that list. So hopefully, yeah, I mean, hopefully, not only do we qualify for 2021, but it doesn't clash with interprovincial cricket, because that would have been a big pity if we had come over with 5 or 6 of us missing. So yeah, as you say, it could be a bit of a blessing in disguise. Hopefully it is, and hopefully things work out for next year. So we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see, and make sure that they don't clash.
And for those who don't know much about the cricket setup in Ireland, how exactly does it work in terms of different teams and competitions?
So we've got 4 provincial unions. We've got down in the Republic, we have Munster and Leinster, and they would have their own Premier League, Division 1, Division 2, etc. And then up in Northern Ireland, we've got the Northern Cricket Union and the Northwest Cricket Union, where there'll also be Premier League, First Division, so on and so forth. Obviously, each union has their own local league as well as local knockout competition. And then all combined, there's the All-Ireland T20 competition and the All-Ireland 50-over competition, which is how we managed to qualify on the T20 side of that. So there's a lot of club cricket, going on, which is great. And then 3 Munster only compete in the T20 competition, and the other 3 unions compete in 3-day and 50-over competitions.
And so I was just going to say that you won the treble last season.
Yeah, so we won the T20 local competition. We won our own league. The T20 competition then qualifies you for the All-Ireland T20, which we won there also. And then we won the local knockout cup for the 50-over cup, the Challenge Cup, which has a lot of history behind it and always a lovely competition to win. So, yeah, we ended up with a really good season. Managed to win 4 trophies, which, is always hard going into a season after a season like that. But yeah, it was a really good season for us, and we were very fortunate to come out the way we did.
And what about your cricketing journey? How did you end up in Belfast playing cricket for Ireland? Where did it all start? I
actually started in a club game in Cape Town against a touring Northern Irish team called the Ulster Grasshoppers. I got into a chat with a guy named Pete Shields, who I don't think he was captain anymore, but I think he was about to be chairman or something like that of a club just outside Belfast called North Down. And he knew that I had Irish heritage, and we got chatting. And in 2 months' time, I was playing for North Down in Cumber, just down the road here. And 2 seasons later, I was at CI. And I now live over in Belfast, play for CI, coach for the local union, play for the local union, and just do anything I really can to do with cricket, to be fair.
Now, I have it on good authority that the spin twins of yourself and Jacob Mulder were breaking records galore last season. Just how much fun was that? Yeah,
look, I had to carry Jacob for most of the season. He's absolutely useless. I'm joking. Yeah, no, look.
He won't thank you for saying that.
No, it was really good. You know, I mean, to be fair, there was a our overseas bowler, our overseas player. It was also played a major role, also left arm spinner. You know, he also played a major role, and the three of us really enjoyed bowling in the middle overs, and you know, sort of trying to strangle teams and then picking up wickets in the back end. And yeah, look, I mean, Jacob and I think both picked up nearly just under 50 wickets each, and I mean, at times, you know, I could have gone wicketless, he could have taken 4 or 5, or vice versa. I mean, it really didn't. I don't think it necessarily reflected exactly on how we bowled. I think it reflected on how the team bowled as a unit, week to week. You know, we had 2 good opening bowlers, like I say, 3 spinners in the middle. Got a quality off spinner who didn't play much of last season because of injury, and then a young seamer. And I mean, we just had a really good, well-rounded attack. And then, you know, as I say, it was more a reflection of how we bowled as a team.
Well, I know that Somerset had Taunton nicknamed Hyderabad because of their spinning attack. Was there any particular nicknames or jokes thrown around about the try-spin attack causing havoc in your case?
No, they definitely weren't. Yeah, funny enough, I mean, we've got an opening bowler who's, you know, a few sandwiches short of a picnic basket, and you know, he was very adamant that we needed as much bounce and pace in the wicket, well, all the time. So to be fair, we were trying to sort of get that going. We were trying to get good batting wickets, good cricket wickets. You know, trying to really get the ball to fly through and make sure that our batters could play shots and our bowlers could get a bit of bounce and some pace out of the wicket. So there was no sort of intentional plan to try and take wickets with spin. I was just kind of prepare decent wickets and see how things go.
And what have you seen so far of the European cricket project across the Dream 11 series, the league, and then, of course, the network?
Yeah, apart from on social media, not too much. You know, obviously there was no Irish team involved in 2019. So apart from social media, not too much. I saw a couple scorecards. Obviously that
222 without loss.
222 without loss, yeah.
As a bowler, did that make you sort of hide behind the sofa?
Yeah, I've gone for that a few times in 4 overs, so I'm used to that. No, look, that's obviously, it was very impressive, and I saw that on social media, and I saw a couple other videos here and there. But I haven't seen too much about it, and I think that just makes it even worse that things were obviously called off this year, because, you know, it was really, really an exciting prospect to go over and get involved in without knowing too much about it. So yeah, I don't know too much, but hopefully get to know it quite well.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time with this quick chat at the end of this interactive chat. Now, those who are real cricket badgers will already know that James is, of course, a Test cricketer, having made his debut for Ireland against Afghanistan almost exactly a year or so ago now, back in mid-March of 2019. So if it's okay with you, James, it'd be great to get you back on another time to talk more so your Ireland international career, having thoroughly examined Irish domestic cricket, if that's okay with you.
That's absolutely fine. Yeah, would love to do that. Love to do that.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, James, for your time and insight, and have a very good day.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks, Michael.
Brilliant. Thanks, James. Cheers. So that's Irish international James Cameron-Dow to round off today's show. So we've had Joe Gatting at the start, the Swardston captain from the current English champions. And then second of all, Chris Kleis, a fascinating character, the 26-year-old chairman of the Skanderborg Stingrays. Do join us again tomorrow when Vin Sandy will be back with the Maximo chat. But for now, goodbye and good night.